display ranking in the. And in this case, the top score is a security camera, so we'll have to tweak the calculation or separate categories differently. And because that doesn't exactly match the photography as an interest. Um, so we deployed API for use by SE using Fast API, Render, and Hugging Face. So this was a simple API with just a product category and min-max price on a sample of TK products due to the memory constraints. And also we deployed the API with recommender models only locally due to the free tire constraints. And finally, we communicated API endpoints to SC for implementation on the app.
So from the software engineer standpoint, the Gift IQ was designed around one central idea. Is making gift selection easier and more personal. Our role was in development, focused on translating user needs into a full stack application that included planning the system architecture, defining the technical requirements, and creating a functional, secure, and intuitive product experience. Next slide. From the backend serves as the core of the system. We built a REST API that handles everything from user authentication to gift management. MongoDB stores the user's profile data, including the avatar budget and gift entries. We implemented the JWT authentication to keep the endpoint secure. Molter supports the image upload, so people are able to change their avatar as well as the recipient's avatar. The backend is deployed on Render to make all services accessible to the front end. Next slide. We have a visual. Next one. This is a visual how the architecture for the application actually works. Next. In terms of the architecture and engineer challenges, this slide shows the high-level architecture of the application. The front end communicates with the Express API, which manages the user authentication and data storage in MongoDB. An additional product API powers the item filtering and recommendation so that it could be displayed. During the development, we solved several engineer challenges, from debugging the avatar upload failures to Git merge conflicts, and to ensure that everything was developed smoothly. The problem-solving steps were essential to delivering a stable and production-ready application.
Hello, everyone. The front end built using React and Vite for fast and efficient development. The UI split into reusable components, and React hooks were used to manage state and user interaction. Users can manage their profiles, recipients. Also, they can find gifts and save them. And save them. The user interface can connect with the backend for real-time data, and also an external products API to filter the items based on interest and price range. And the API, the user interface, also we build it to be responsive and works on different screen sizes.
We also implemented the styles that our designers came up with from Figma and translated them onto CSS. Items like the buttons, the color scheme, the fonts, the margins, and things like that.
For the UX UI side, we designed the app for both a native mobile app, and we also designed it for desktop, focusing on Apple iOS. We used the Apple Human Interface Guidelines to base our typography sizes, our components, and our iconography. We also did a competitive analysis of 4 different apps. Through it, one of the things we did come up with was our color palette, because the different apps largely used, each one had a blue of some sort within their app. Also, they all had a primary color that carried on throughout their apps. We also learned from user reviews that they wanted an intuitive app that was easy to use, to get around. They wanted to minimize touch points. They did not want to have to do too many steps. And they largely complained about issues like matriculating images and links. So it is great that our DS worked together and they deleted all of those defunct links. We also had to change our design as we went forward. Originally, we were going to have user input for categories, and the users would input, and then it would lead them into the appropriate category. However, because of time limitations, we decided to change that in our later high fidelity, and we made it into checkboxes instead. We also made sure to follow the WCAG guidelines. Our primary buttons do fit the AAA standard. They are 8.20 to 1. Our lowest standard is our delete button. It is AA, so it does still pass accessibility guidelines, but it is at 4.8 to 1. However, we made it very red so that it is intuitive for users to use anyways. We also started implementing alt text in things like mobile navigation bars, checkboxes, primary buttons, etc. And now I know we wanted to have an app demonstration, so I will stop sharing.
I'm gonna share. So here is the homepage for the application. You're able to log in. To log in, this is the homepage. You can also go to the profile where everything is displayed. You can see the saved gifts. You can change them for considering, purchase. You can also add the gifts here. You'll click on the save. The save gifts are going to be filtered through. You can also find the gifts. You will load based on the category that you can pick. Search. We will upload the names.
Okay, and the last thing was our teamwork. So we largely communicated through Discord, and we had discussions and voice calls as needed. Sometimes we would hop in each other's, mostly me. UX UI, we worked simultaneously on Figma, so we left comments. We also did a lot of Discord chats while we were working in Figma, sending it over to DS.
I was primarily in VS Code. I was in collaboration with Victor primarily. We're kind of like trying to separate our tasks a lot because a lot of times multiple DSs can kind of step on each other's toes. I've experienced that a lot, but we work pretty well together. A lot of GitHub structural stuff, especially for the API. A lot of kind of dividing tasks as far as like things such as the checking for the offline Amazon products. So as we went on, we kind of divided tasks a little more.
For our software engineer, we are the same. We communicate over Discord and we use VS Code and GitHub to manage our source control. And I learned a lot about GitHub source control actually and how to resolve conflicts. And we use also Chrome browser for development.
Thank you and happy holidays.
Awesome. Wow, I'm genuinely impressed with the amount of work that you guys got done in such a short time. That I under We all understand how much went into that, and it's very impressive. So hats off to you guys all for pulling that together and getting such a pretty solid, pretty polished product. So that's really impressive. So great job, you guys. I want to ask each of the individual, you're all one big team, but the mini teams, each of our programs, I want to ask a couple questions to you guys and just and get a little bit better understanding about the process and some of the things that happen. So I think I'll start with our UX UI. By no means did you have enough time to get everything done exactly how you wanted to get it done. How did you prioritize get getting a product that looked great with getting it perfect? And what did you do to keep your software engineers busy? Because a lot of the process kind of hinged on their process kind of hinged on you guys. So if someone wants to walk me through those two things.
Yeah, so Caitlin and I first started with wireframing with low fidelity prototypes, and we basically split the work between the two of us. And as we were making components in Figma, the more completed we had the components, we would just make it ready for our developers so that they could take bits and pieces throughout the project and work with that as they move along.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you divide and conquer. Quick question on that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it looked very cohesive. It looked like you guys did a great job with collaborating. So you divided the work up, but you still had it look like one person had the whole vision. How was that collaboration process working together that way? How did you guys do such a good job at making it look so cohesive?
I mean, I'd say we were both pretty easygoing, so we didn't really disagree on a lot of the color palette and just little things like that. We would agree whenever someone had something done, and I don't know if Caitlin wants to add on.
I'll say that it also was just a lot of the talking. We would,
Yeah.
when I was working or when she was working, like we'd work at the same time over Discord chat. So we could just in the moment discuss something like, hey, why did you put this thing here? Hey, can we move this? Uh, Salome would make like product cards or something, and I'd look at it and be like, oh, that's actually great. So I'm going to use it over here too. So just things I would also steal from her sometimes. So it was a great process working with Salome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it's just great vibes and just really similar tastes. So that's awesome. So great job, you guys. I guess so similar question to data science and software engineering as far as the collaboration went. How were you guys able to get everything so polished so quickly? I will start with software engineering.
For us, it was a lot of communicating back and forth, meeting almost every day, at least twice or three times a day, to make sure we had the logic consistent. Um, Waiting on it was kind of like as they were developing the design, we were also kind of like picking out of what colors they were putting on the Figma and kind of taking it from there. It was fun.
That's awesome. I also don't know if you understand how incredibly difficult that is to do, even when you're all in the same space working on something together, but being that like in tune and being able to communicate so frequently with people and stay on the same track, that's really awesome. So great job for you guys. That will suit you and treat you very, very well in the future when you are in the industry. That kind of collaboration and data science, same question.
So I can say about the project. So this project has been going very well, and with some progress and good collaboration. So I focused on building the core features and solving the issues as they came up, and making the practical technical decisions to keep the project moving forward.
Awesome. And as far as data science goes, what was it like working cross-discipline with te technically knowledgeable people, but not ne necessarily knowledgeable in the things you're knowledgeable in? What was that process like?
Challenging because you have to kind of think ahead as far as like what outputs from your work are going to directly impact theirs. So typically, as data scientists, we're used to starting with a notebook. So we kind of like had two parallel notebooks, but really like one of us should have been working on the API probably from the start, and we've actually like realized that after the fact. But it's basically like what do we need to give them, at the beginning of the project as far as like the endpoints of what the API are going to be, so they can actually build the website around like the app around that. And then other things crop up, like we decided to filter those Amazon products out. That was like a whole day project on its own. So we kind of started doing like little offshoot projects. So a lot of like coordination about like who's doing what and then how that's impacting the actual like back end of the app. Like you kind of have to think ahead.
Awesome. So how do you think that that process is going to that learning experience, you think that it's going to give you a leg up when you do get into the industry?
I think so for sure. It lets you like anticipate the needs of other departments more. It kind of makes your work like not in a vacuum. Like you're gonna have to like work on your communication skills, make sure that's getting to the right department, the right people. So it's very important to like have that in mind because you're not doing your own just like project in a bubble. It's like part of a bigger picture.
That's exactly right. That was the key there was you realize how many things were not kind of taken account for. There's gonna be more always. There's never gonna be a time where it's all like you thought of everything because you can't, we're not capable of that. Well, maybe some people are. I know I'm not. But yeah, that's definitely gonna treat you well, serve you well in the future when you're going through that process and trying to think ahead. Having that, experience across the team is gonna be awesome. So awesome job, team one. That was phenomenal. Like I said, I'm so impressed right now. That was really cool. And give you guys a round of applause here. Let's move on to our team two, the Elfgineers. I love the name, so that's awesome. And I'm gonna do this. We'll do the same thing we did with team one. I'm just gonna have you guys introduce yourselves. We can start with design this again.
Hi everyone, my name is Imani Bombay. I was part of the UX UI design team.
And my name is Logan Colantoni. I was the other half of the design team.
All right, data science.
Hello, my name is Byron LaQuesta, and I'm part of the data science team. And my teammate Robert isn't here today, and he was also part of the data science team. And Jill, who's attending the stream, unfortunately, she got sick, so she kind of had to sit this project out. But she did help me. She did help me out with a lot of my observations and input. Yeah.
Fantastic. And software engineers.
Yeah, my name's Hunter Milrose, and I was part of the software engineering team.
Hi, I'm Roxanne, and I was also a part of the software engineering team.
All right, awesome. And is there anybody else
Yeah,
on the team that is
yeah,
I think
Mike.
we're Mike. Yeah.
I
okay,
think,
Mike?
yeah, his kid, I think they were trying to coordinate he has a kid, that's why.
Okay, awesome. Well, awesome, everybody. I'm really excited. I'm gonna let you guys get right into it. I'm super excited to see what you guys came up with.
Oh, Logan, I'm starting off. Okay. Hello, can you see my screen? Hello? hello.
Yes, looking good.
Sorry, I'm having Zoom issues. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Sorry about that. Okay.
All right, perfect.
Hello, my name is Byron, and I'm part of the data science team. And we created a mood tracker called Holly Mood. And then that's our app. And for the data science team, we have me and UX and software engineers. I'm not going to go through the list. And me and my teammate Robert will be discussing the data science portion of our project, and he's not here today. So for the first slide, here we have a bar chart that displays the top 10 most popular activities among users. The top 10 most popular activities among users mainly consist of media-based activities such as YouTube, streaming, and audiobooks, and self-care based activities such as eating a good meal, meditation, and fasting. Media-based activities appear to be more popular among users than self-care based activities, with YouTube and streaming being the most popular. Next slide. Here we have a correlation heat map that displays the correlation between several of the most popular, least popular, and moderately popular activities and mood score. And from the activities, it appears that self-care slash self-improvement activities such as pen pal, hiking, and PhD study have the most positive correlations with mood score. And although popular among users, media-based activities such as streaming and YouTube had negative correlations with mood score. Next slide. And we trained a model as well. And for our machine learning model task, we created a gradient boosting classifier model trained with upsampled features that can predict whether or not a user will have an overall bad mood or an overall good mood based on the features available in the data set, which are weekday and activity frequency. We use features from the Dalio dataset to train our model from the Dalio dataset from Kaggle. But because the dataset was small and there were only a limited amount of features available that wouldn't cause target leakage, our model was only limited to a moderately good performance. Our model had a macro F1 score of 0.6, a precision score of 0.61, a recall score of 0.64, and an ROC AUC score of 0.64. And as you can see in our ROC curve chart, our model was able to make predictions better than random guessing across multiple prediction probability thresholds. Unfortunately, due to the time constraint, we didn't get to deploy our model into the app. If we were presenting this model to the actual company, I would advise the company that this model will be useful for completion with more time and funding. I would also request that the company gather more information from users, such as number of friends and daily food choices, in order to try to improve model performance with more features to train. And we'll be playing Robert's recording from here because he has a dashboard. Hello.
Hello, my name is Robert Ogle, and I was responsible for the data integration between the data science team and the software engineering team. I created the JSON object that powers the app. The JSON object has all 30 users that are available in the data set, and I also included a way to show the information via the graphs. You can choose any of the users here and see their graphs. With that, I'm going to hand it over to the UI UX thing.
Byron, would you mind sharing your screen again with the slides?
I can share my screen.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Imani again. So for the design portion of this project, our goal was to design and create a site that encouraged healthy habits such as mood logging and journaling. The product, we can go to the next slide. The product map that we created in collaboration with the software engineers helped us determine what key features needed to be a part of the site. It also helped us understand the potential users' flow through the site. Next slide. For this site, we determined that our target audience were people struggling to take care of themselves, and they had little to no time to take care of themselves. A great example of our target user would be Claire Ramos, a 35-year-old fifth grade teacher who, from her 9 to 5, she interacts with children. And then after work, she goes home to 2 children and a husband. So as you could probably tell, that she doesn't have a lot of time for herself, which often leaves her in a bad mood. So with that, we deemed it important to create a site that not only encouraged different ways to handle her stress, but also to help her create healthy habits like journaling and tracking her mood every day. Now I'll pass it to Logan to describe the design process.
Okay, so for the design process, we wanted to focus on two main features. And the first being we wanted it to be a very minimalistic and simple design. So when the user gets in, they can just go straight to their mood. We also focused on these three aspects for our mid-fidelity and high-fidelity designs. As said before, we wanted a simplistic layout to give a streamlined way for the users to interact with our products. And for the color, we wanted something that was going to be a blend of neutral and calming colors to make the user feel at ease when using our application. And we also wanted the moods to reflect what the current user was feeling at that day when they would log their emotions. We decided, since it was more of a journalistic application, that we went for a typography that mirrors personal handwriting to make the user feel more at home with the app. This was our dashboard for the user's previous moods that were logged. From this page, the user can add a mood that will display below. On what they did today, what influenced that mood, and then add some notes. Super simple steps, super easy for the user to get their feelings conveyed through the app. We did also add some error variants to make it easier for our software engineer team to understand our direction and our thoughts. When coming up with these designs, we ran into two pain points. Our first pain point was that when selecting a mood, there was no indication of which mood was selected. And as a team, we decided that making the background gradient reflect the mood that they chose was the best direction to go with. It was the most simplistic and the easiest to understand. And then our second pain point was that there was no way for the users, when looking at the dashboard, to identify which mood card was on which specific date. For that, we just took the date that was on the back of the cards and moved it to the front to make it easier for the users to find exactly what they're looking for. And then we'll actually bring it back to Imani to take us home.
So after implementing these changes to the design and the user experience, we created our high fidelity prototype. Users can edit their profile. So if you click the pencil, you can put in your profile name and change it. You can also log your moods. So if you click the add mood button, you can click, is it frozen? Well, okay, I'll just explain it. So yeah, users can log their moods. They can see the date they were logged and edit their profile name and also see their stats on the stats page. I'm not sure if it's frozen, but you can go to the next slide if it's not working. Uh-oh. Byron, would you mind sharing your screen? Can you go to slide 16? Thank you. Okay, it's fine. We can go to the next slide because it might take a while. Thank you. Okay, so two additional factors we wanted to highlight was the activity button color changes and the mobile version of the site. First on this slide, as you can see, we wanted our user to be able to select activities that connected to their mood. So to keep the design consistent, we decided to make the buttons change color to the corresponding mood once selected. We think the color change in the bubble buttons allow for a friendly task that would be difficult to skip. Um, and then if you go to the next slide, we also wanted to keep the site accessible by making it responsive and available for mobile use. So the changes that we implemented were like we made the components larger, the text larger, and the pages vertical to fit properly within a smaller screen while keeping it accessible. And next slide. While the key features for this site are there and the design seems to work, there's always room for improvement. So there was some more opportunities for improvement to consider for the future, and that would be to allow users to stay logged in when exiting out of the app and to allow users to set reminders to log their moods and put in journal entries. These additions will help better the user experience in the future. And so now I will pass it on to the software engineering team. Thank you, Byron.
Yeah, you can just you can keep going with the slide if you want. There you go. Thank you.
There we go.
Mike, you want to go because you're the next slide? And then we'll have Roxanne at the end. I can go if Mike is time.
Sorry about that. Not sure if you guys
Cool.
can hear me at all, but hello everyone. My name is Mike Watson. Now I was part of the software engineer team, and for this project, I was put in charge of basically all modal behavior. Now, when I started working on the main modals, my first goal was scalability and reusability. So I intended to make a universal modal that could handle different modal states, such as adding a new mood, editing your profile, adding a new user, adding a profile can all be handled simply by calling a modal state. And all of these modals would have the same form logic and same kind of form wireframing. And by calling the different prop names, that's where the styling comes into play. By doing this, the project could scale in infinitely and have any amount of modals, and as long as you're calling them all by different prop names, then they can all be handled by a single universal modal form. And I will hand it over to Roxanne.
Hunter, did you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. This is my slide. So yeah, I basically, was in charge of kind of setting up the project for everybody and helping everybody out. So we set up the project using like React and Vite. We built it around just a few different components, a form for logging moods, a dashboard for showing stats, and a simple header for navigation. Chose Vite because it gives fast reloads. You don't need like NodeMon. Um, and to keep with the directions, we used local storage with a custom service module, so entries stay saved between sessions without needing a backend. Next, we worked with Robert to bring in the data. He shared JSON files with mood statistics and chart data. And he used chart.js, which helped us out a lot. And then I built a service layer to pull all that in and then connect it with the React state. This way, the dashboard combines their visualizations with like live stats, average mood ratings, and most common categories, stuff like that. Um, yeah, and in terms of CSS, I used Grid, Flexbox, and media queries to adapt it to like I think 3 or 4 different screen sizes. I also added semantic HTML and keyboard navigation so the app is accessible and easily to use for everybody. Um, One big challenge I came across was keeping the code base clean under such a tight deadline. Like I had to open a bunch of different pull requests to refactor the code to make sure that it was all organized and uh, to have better readability. Um, Throughout the project, I learned how important clear communication is when working with people you don't know. React's component system made it super easy to break things into pieces, and we all assigned each other different pieces of the page. Looking ahead, I'd definitely like to add a real backend using Express and MongoDB because local storage can get maxed out. Um, and since it's built using JavaScript, you could definitely turn this into a mobile application eventually. Some other things I'd like to add are more advanced filtering, search options, and then convert it to just straight up React Native to make it like mobile first. Cool. Okay, Roxanne.
Hi everyone, I'm Roxanne, and I will be doing a live demo for you guys. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see it? Oh no, it's not. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. I'm gonna try to move this out of the way. Okay, so when you first log in, this is what you're gonna see. Um, as you can see, you can flip the cards over, but they are initially face up. You can just keep loading and loading, goes down. When you initially want to create your profile, you can just add your name. You can change your profile picture. Save. Now I want to add my mood. The color will change based on what mood I select. I can select as many activities as I want. I'll enter my mood.
Here, show changing the mood while the activities are selected.
Okay. Just add it. And as you can see, the cards start to flip over on their own after, I believe it's 2 minutes. Here's the one I just entered. I can go ahead and delete it. We did use local storage. We don't have a backend right now. So changes only persist locally and are limited. Here is the stats dashboard where you can gain insight from your prior entries over time and see on a distribution chart which ones made you happier and which ones made you angry, sad, and etc.
I can share my screen super quick to show the fetching of the entries. Can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if I go here to, it's not letting me click that for some reason. One second, guys. There we go. Okay. So if I clear the local storage, you can see that it fetches all the entries from the user.json file that the data science team provided. So if I run that and then refresh the page, you can see it fetches the sample data from user.json. It fetches 12,000 entries. It filters it to just the user ID 30. It processes that and maps them into individual moods based on the data. And then it eventually displays the data on the back sides of the cards and the front. So, yeah. How do I stop share? There we go. Cool. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, awesome. That was amazing. Well, that was very polished. I'm super impressed. I didn't think that much work could get done in that short a period of time. I think my first question is actually going to be for our software engineers. It was interesting to hear how you guys divided the workload and your workflows a little bit. Can you explain to me why and you decided to distribute the work the way you did? And do you think you would want to do it the same way in the future?
I'll answer that one real quick, and then you guys can answer that. For me, I actually had a really hard time because there wasn't a good of communication, and also um, it was just like some of the other software engineers didn't have the same knowledge that like some of us did. So like the choice of using React and Vite, like there's certain people in the team who didn't really know that. So I had to like try to figure out how to give them tasks too.
Beneficial to uh, it, do you think it would be beneficial to maybe shift the technologies used and into
Mhm.
something that may be a little bit more uh, inclusive for the rest of the team, so you didn't feel as uh, overwhelmed maybe in the
Definitely. That
workload?
would have been
Okay.
smarter. Definitely.
Yeah, I've I've learned that lesson myself. I had to learn it multiple times, by the way, because it's very easy. when you learn something, especially when you're learning something kind of new and you know how great it is, it's very easy to forget that sometimes vanilla JS is great and it does all the same stuff. It's just maybe a little bit more to write and a little bit different architecture. So yeah, I think that would definitely, I think this was a fantastic learning experience, but I will say you guys did a great job and pulled it off. It looked fantastic. It looks like the design team had their design kind of come to life. So you guys all did a fantastic job. So shout out to the software team getting that all together. I have a question for now all three disciplines here. We'll start with our design team. It's going to be what was the difference between working in your design bunch versus then collaborating in a cross-discipline environment? How was it doing, the things that you know well with somebody that also knows it well, and then transitioning into, you know, communicating that to technical, different technologies and different people with different experiences?
I will say that honestly, it was a challenge. Just because I think a lot of it in the beginning was just trying to figure out whose roles were like what each role was supposed to take care of. But I think like moving on into the project as we communicated more and even like broke down things, it started to go smoothly as long as we just kept communicating. But yeah,
Awesome.
that was this challenge.
Awesome. Yeah, communication's always key, and definitely those learning experiences. So do you feel like you'll probably start your planning approach? Maybe try to spend a little bit more time in that beginning process before work actually starts getting done, in that initial kind of, kind of laying everything out kind of deal, or what do you think would be the best way to improve moving forward?
Let me think on that one.
Okay, we can swing back around on that. In the meantime, I want to talk to my data science team here.
Hello.
Pretty much same question. What was the difference? What was it like working with someone who's also doing data science versus your cross discipline? What was the challenges, and what were the differences there?
Well, when I did my externship with the data science team, the workflow was a lot smoother because we were all familiar with machine learning models and EDA and stuff like that. And for me, it was a little bit of a challenge because I don't have a background in software engineering, but luckily my partner, teammate Robert, who is not here today, he had a software engineering background, so he managed to build the API and do all that stuff. So that was a really big help. So and he was kind of like the glue that held everything together as far as DS and SE.
That's always very helpful, having a
Hmm.
cross-discipline team member. So that, yeah, it almost feels like cheating sometimes when someone knows a little bit about everything. It's very, very helpful. They call those project managers, but
Yeah.
sometimes you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, it makes me
Uh,
want to fill in the gaps in my game as well and learn more about development as well. So it inspired me to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely, that's a great
Mm-hmm.
mindset to have. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's going to serve you very well in the industry. So very good
Mm-hmm.
job. And software engineering, pretty same question. What was the difference in the
I think
disciplines and how you communicate?
I think the biggest challenge for us as software engineers was honestly coming together and having those first initial conversations and getting an understanding of what each discipline actually does and what we can actually achieve individually. So coming together and just understanding that, the data science team, they put all their stuff in Python, and then we need to have someone kind of convert all of that stuff to JSON, coming together and figuring these things out in the beginning um, was a little tough, but once we kind of understood exactly what each discipline can achieve within this workflow, I think everything starts to go a lot smoother.
Awesome. Love that. Well, great. That you guys genuinely, that was fantastic. You guys blew my socks off, both teams. Before I cut to our ending, Amani, did you think of anything in the meantime, or are we good to wrap up?
I think Mike already said it. But I would say, yeah, establishing in the beginning, like just laying out what everyone's role is, what exactly we do, and then moving forward from there. But that should be like established in the beginning. And then
Absolutely.
also, I think what was very helpful was we did appoint a project manager, Logan. He couldn't make it back, but he was very helpful with like bringing everything together and kind of, you know, if things weren't understood between another person and another, then he would bring it together and communicate. So, yeah.
Nice. That's really awesome. Well, fantastic. That is awesome. And that's all from Triple Ten's Data Science, Software Engineering, UX, UI, Code Jam presentations. Thank you guys for being here. Uh, if you're a Triple Ten student and you are watching this after the fact, feel free to comment. And if you would like to join any of these jams, please feel free to reach out to your career channels. Uh, A special thanks to everyone who helped organize the jams: Kathleen, Tasha, Daniel, Devin, Josh, Marcella, Elena, Natasha, Olivia, Dennis, and Nastasia, and me, of course. Thank you again to all of our participants for presenting today. Your work was amazing, and you guys seriously impressed me. The amount of work that got done was just phenomenal. So that's amazing. My name is Dallin Slight, and you can find me on LinkedIn if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching and coming in. You guys have a fantastic rest of your nights.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay.